Naranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivacharya Satara Shri Śrīmad Divine Graces Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Brahmanandi Hare. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Shri Radha Krishna Prasad. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming to today's class, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We are reading from Canto 8, Chapter 5, the Demigods Appeal to the Lord, Text 22. Right? Nayasya vadyo nacharakshaniyo Nayasya vadyo nacharakshaniyo Nopekshaniya dharaniya pakshaha Nopekshaniya dharaniya pakshaha Tatapi sarga stiti samyamartam Tatapi sarga stiti samyamartam Datte rajasatvatamam sikale Datte rajasatvatamam sikale Nayasya vadyo nacharakshaniyo Nopekshaniya dharaniya pakshaha Tatapi sarga stiti samyamartam Datte rajasatvatamam sikale Sthiti samyamartam Datte rajasattamam sikale Nayasya vadyo nacharakshaniyo Nopekshaniya dharaniya pakshaha Tatapi sarga stiti samyamartam Datte rajasattamam sikale na yasya vadyo na cha rakshaniyo nopekshaniya dharaniya pakshaha tatapi sarga sthiti samyamartam datte raja sattva tamam sikale na yasya vadyo na cha rakshaniyo nopekshaniya dharaniya pakshaha tatapi sarga sthiti samyamartam datte raja sattva tamam sikale. Ladies. Nayasya vadyo na cha rakshaniyo nopekshaniya dharaniya vakshaha tatapi sarga siddhi samyamartam datte raja sattva tamam sikale nayasyat madhyo na cha rakshaniyo nopekshaniya dharaniya pakshaha tatapi sarga sthiti samyamartam datte raja sattva tamam sikale. No, that's good for you. Okay. Because every word in the Bhagavatam is connected to Krishna. So even if you chant a little bit, you get so much purification. So next time try to... Everyone should chant, don't worry about it. You don't lose actually, you only gain. Right, we do word for word. Na, not. Yasya, by whom the Lord. Vadyaha, anyone is to be killed. Na, no. Cha, also. Rakshaniyaha, anyone is to be protected. Na, no. Upekshaniya, to be neglected. Adaraniya, to be worshipped. Pakshaha, part. Tatapi, still. Sarga, creation. Sthiti, maintenance. Samyama, and annihilation. Artham, for the sake of. Datte, he accepts. Rajaha, passion. Sattva, goodness. Tamamsi, and ignorance. Kale, in due course of time. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Do you read the translation together or in response? Read it together. Okay, you want response. Okay. All right. For the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no one to be killed, no one to be protected, no one to be neglected, and no one to be worshipped. Nonetheless, for the sake of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, according to time, he accepts different forms as incarnations, either in the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, or the mode of ignorance. Purport. Who wants to read? Okay, the birthday girl can read. Right? Use the microphone.
This verse explains that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is equal to everyone. This is confirmed by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 9.29. So samoham sarva bhuteshu name desho stina priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mayi te deshu chapyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Although the Lord is impartial, He gives special attention to His devotees. Therefore the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. The Lord has nothing to do with anyone's protection or destruction. But for the creation, maintenance and annihilation of this material world, He apparently has to act either in goodness, in passion, or in darkness. Actually, however, He is unaffected by these modes of material nature. He is the Supreme Lord of everyone. As a king sometimes punishes or rewards someone to maintain law and order, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although having nothing to do with the activities of this material world, sometimes appears as various incarnations and according to the time, place and object.
Thank you. Om Ajnanathmirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Sanviritamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Mukam Karati Vachulum Bangum Langete Girim Yatkipadam Mande Shri Gurum Denatarana Paramananda Madam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sodeda Vadodaya Pushpanta Chitra Sandota. Once again, Nayasya Vadyo Nacharakshaniyo Nopekshaniya Dharaniya Pakshaha Tatapi Sarga Sthiti Samyamartam Datte Rajasatvatamam Sikale. For the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no one to be killed, no one to be protected, no one to be neglected, and no one to be worshipped. Nonetheless, for the sake of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, according to time, He accepts different forms as incarnations, either in the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, or the mode of ignorance. So the 8th canto is a very nice canto actually. There's many beautiful pastimes. It also actually shows us the position of the Supreme Lord, who He is, what He does, and how He protects and maintains His devotees actually. And it also talks about some of His incarnations, how the demigods respond to different situations. The Manus, there's a lot of discussion of Manus, mainly short verses, but particularly when Parikshit Maharaj gets excited about one or two things, then he goes into detail. Like in this case, this is the Chakshusha Manu, the churning of the milk ocean. Yeah, and then what Indra does sometime creates problems, and also it contains beautiful prayers by, particularly you have finished that chapter, right? Gajendra Moksha, right? The prayers of Lord, Gajendra, the elephant. And then you can also see how when the devotees are worshipping the Lord in a way that they totally surrender to Him, you find how the Lord also responds, or how He gives His mercy. But mostly you find in the 8th canto, it's about Poshanam. Poshanam means protection. Poshanam also means, Prabhupada translates Poshanam as also maintenance. And Prabhupada also in some places says Poshanam is also maintenance. No, he says maintenance is food. Right? Because you eat, you're maintaining your body, so he says that. So basically you find protection and maintenance discussed in this 8th canto. Was that? Atra sarga visargascha stanam poshanam uttaya. So poshanam, that there's 10 topics discussed in the Bhagavatam, so the poshanam is quite nicely highlighted in this particular canto. Of course, it's all over the Bhagavatam, but here you can see quite a lot. You know, the Lord personally comes to give shelter to His devotees. And so it's very nice. And also the science of God. Who is Krishna? What is His position? Or His incarnations? Why they do certain activities? What is the purpose behind it? Why it's necessary? We must know who God is, right? You have to know God, right? If I were to tell you to go and buy a diamond, you must know something about diamond to go and buy a diamond, right? But if you do not know what a diamond is, then you would be cheated, right? You'll be easily cheated. I remember many years ago when we were posted in Luke Air Force Base. I was doing some work many years ago in the 80s. And there, some of my colleagues say they wanted to go and visit the Las Vegas. So we drove to Las Vegas there. Of course, you know, everyone's doing some nonsense there. But one of the workers, he went missing. So we were wondering what happened. So we were looking for him all over the place. And it's very hard because everywhere is a casino and people are... So finally we saw him the next morning when we were going for breakfast, and then he was buying something from a person in a car. And the person was giving him something and he was paying money, you know. So we were thinking there's something going wrong. So we were running to stop him, but then before we could do that, the guy gave him some papers and then he drove away. So we asked the the colleague, what happened, you know. So the guy was saying, oh, you know, he sold me this very special ring, you know, it's an antique ring, you know. Then we were saying, how do you know it's antique? You know, he gave us this certificate and it says it's antique. So we say, how do you know it's authentic? You know, he said, no, this is... So we were like shaking. We said, you probably got conned, you know. We said, how much you paid? The guy said, $800 US, you know. So then we went to a gift shop. We wanted to buy some gifts, and then the lady was showing us many things. Then she said, what about these rings, you know? So the rings were exactly what this colleague of ours bought, you know, and it was only $18. So therefore we need to know, right, what is authentic and what is not authentic. We can't just say, oh, I will know what to do. And so many times our spiritual master will say, now I want you to cook for me, but don't put these spices and so on. But the cook will go and put the spices anyway, thinking that they know better. Sometimes Prabhupada gives the answer also, right? If the father asks, give me a glass of water, they bring milk, they bring Coca-Cola, they bring all kinds of orange juice or fruit juice, but in the end, the father just wants water. So it's very important for us how, when we study the Bhagavatam, it's very important to understand who Krishna is. who God is, what is His position. It's very important. So why I'm saying this, you'll find why this is important. Otherwise we find we do not know who to surrender to. We do not know who to take shelter of. Not just the Supreme Lord, we don't even know how to approach authorities and so on. So there are many lessons like that, and as I mentioned earlier, Gajendra's crisis, what does he realize? He realizes what? That the Lord is... You all went through it already. What did Gajendra realize? The Lord is his protector, that we covered that. What else? He's his best friend, right? Ever present, and he's therefore ready to protect. Yeah, that's a lesson in Gajendra. And then later on here, that this episode that is coming, it's the churning of the milk ocean. The demigods will learn what lesson? Well, you haven't read it, so we will say that. They will learn that they can absolutely rely on Krishna. Totally rely on Krishna. That's a lesson that is very important for all of us also, because in our own endeavors to do many things, we sometimes think we know what to do. Right? There may be circumstances where we can't do anything, we have to turn to some authorities or something like that. So the demigods teach us that they had to rely on Krishna for a lot of the situation. Then we come to the last story, and that story is Bali Maharaj. And what do we learn from Bali Maharaj? That the perfection of life is to completely surrender everything to Krishna. That's a difficult lesson. Because it's like, they say, when you have a lot of money, you give $1 to Krishna, then you take $2. And then you take another $1 to Krishna, you give $2, like that. So, but Bali Maharaj teaches us that actually if you give everything to Krishna, you get more than you actually want. Yeah. So each story in the 8th canto highlights the glory of Krishna and pure devotional unto Him, how to do pure devotional. And it's encouraging us also how to approach the ultimate aim in life, right? What is our aim in life? Oh, go back to Godhead, no? Love Krishna, right? But how many of you practice like that? How many of us practice like that? Right? It's a challenge. It's a challenge, We read the Bhagavatam every day, but when it comes to practicing, we don't know how to practice it. Although Krishna says very clearly, Man mana bhava madhyaji mam namaskuru. Right? He says very clearly, do these simple things, but still it's very complicated. So in this canto, prior to this songs, who's singing here? Particularly this verse. Yeah, Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma is singing. The problem is the cosmic situation is not in balance. Okay, that's a lot of problem. Why? Because there are two kinds of human beings. One is demons or asura. The other one is suras. Yeah. What's the difference? You should speak in the microphone, so everyone can hear.
The demons, they don't have control over their senses and they don't rely on Krishna. But the demigods, they have control on their senses and they rely on Krishna.
Yeah. Generally that means they accept the authority of Krishna. The demons will challenge the authorities of Krishna. So it's very important because what is Krishna representing in the material world? In a sense, what is something you can compare to? He represents authority. In a simplistic fashion, he represents. So we can see ourselves also how much we actually submit to authorities. As particularly for practicing devotees. We may externally say, yeah, I surrender, but internally we are like, no way, man, I'm not going to surrender to this devotee. I'll do, but I'm not surrendering. Or even to the spiritual master also. That's very strongly, it's infected in us. And that's part of the problem that the Bhagavatam is trying to address. That we don't want to surrender, we don't want to accept authority, and therefore the journey back to Godhead becomes difficult. And what Krishna is doing in these different pastimes, he's trying to entice us, attract us, and show us that he is our eternally well-wisher, right? Yeah. So what is the background here? The background is that once Durvasa Muni came to see the demigods, and he saw Indra, and he offered Indra his garlands. So, this is like the spiritual master coming, and he gives you the garland, and then instead of wearing the garland, you throw it away in front of the spiritual master. That is equal to an offense. Yeah, it's equal to an offense. So Indra did the same thing. Why did he do that? He's puffed up over his material opulence. Right? Have you been puffed up? Huh? Always puffed up, yeah? What do you think you have that so much that the others don't have? Example. You have everything. you have everything and still you want more. Right? You think like that. No, I have this, I have that, I'm better than... Generally that's what happens in society. We compare the neighbors, we compare our relatives and so on. You say, I have more. They have something, I will have something more. It's very clear in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? The demonic mentality is to compare, and then what? I'll get rid of them. So I'll have more for myself. So it's very important, yeah? So Durvasa Muni got very, anyway, of all the person to offend, he should be the last one you want to offend. Because he has a very short temper, So much so that he got so outraged. He was outraged with the attitude of Indra. And so what he did was he cursed him. Not just him, he cursed the entire demigods. Said they will never be able to have power. Not never be, he said they'll lose their power and influence, basically. Yeah? So, and very soon what happened? Yeah, the demons. Who was leading the demons? Bali Maharaj. Yeah, so they became very powerful. Why were they powerful? That's also described. Yeah, and what's wrong with Indra? He offended the spiritual master. Yeah. What makes someone offend a spiritual master and someone not respect a spiritual master? Huh? Time? Pride, yeah, pride is one thing. What else? Envy, yeah. How? Pardon? Yeah, I know, but how do you become envious to your spiritual master? Yes. That's okay, you can answer for him. Anyone? It's okay. Anyone can answer, yes. Huh? Yeah, seeing the worship, seeing why they get special treatment, why they get special prasadam, why I'm not getting, Even a neophyte thinks like that, Yeah. So we have to be again lessons to learn, am I like that? Do I covet such thoughts in my heart? Is it there? How do I get rid of it? Do I want to get rid of it? A devotee must be very introspective. It's not just doing all the pujas, It's not just that. You have to think and ask yourself, where do I want to be in 6 months, in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, what do I want to achieve, not materially speaking, but spiritually, where do I want to be? What do I want to give others now that I have this spiritual knowledge? How do I share this? Who do I share with? So therefore, the offense relegated the demigods to a lower position when the demons came with the blessings. And in fact, when the demigods questioned Bali Maharaja's ability, I think the Guru, Brihaspati, or even Brahma says, you can't approach the demons now. They are very powerful. Wait until they make a mistake. Yeah. And subsequently that happens. Yeah. And so they were defeated and they had no choice. And so in this case they approached Lord Brahma. Yeah. How often do we approach someone when we are in difficulties? Mostly we think we can handle it, no? Right or not? Yeah, I can do it, no problem. I didn't do it. Right? Again, it's important because it shows us we often rely on our own senses in our lives, our own intelligence also. How do you purify your intelligence? Yes, by studying scriptures you purify your intelligence, which means you will be able to make the right choices. Yeah. Right choices means you will behave in the right way also. What is behaving in the right way means sadachar. So reading scripture is very important, not just simply reading, but practicing what you read, questioning on why is it this way and not another way, approaching devotees, having association of devotees, having knowledge from the Shastras helps us make very good decisions. And where we can't make decisions, we approach spiritual masters, senior devotees, authorities, and again ask question, trying to come to a good conclusion. Right? Now, in approaching an authority, if they give us a suggestion, how do we take that? Okay, Prabhupada says if you're not willing to take someone's good instructions, then you shouldn't be approaching them. What else? Yeah. What else can you understand from that? Yeah. Oh, you're not. I know this class is different from where you just sit and listen, but I think you all need to also practice thinking. Otherwise, it's just one way, it should be Krishna conscious, not unconscious. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's okay. That's all answers are acceptable.
There's my experience now that if I'm asking guidance, then I should follow.
Yeah.
I feel that I can't follow, but I don't approach.
Yeah. But sometimes people ask a lot from a lot of people. Why? No. They ask, generally, this is very common. If you study people, psychology, right, you study them, you'll see people ask until they get the answer they are looking for. Yeah. Yeah. So as devotees also when we practice, right, we also want to look for that answer that suits our needs, not so much as what the Shastra says or what our authorities are saying. Right? So that causes a lot of problems in the long run. So much problem that we say, oh, this person is not helping me, that person is not good and so on. But the real problem is ourselves. We are the biggest obstacle in our devotional service. And therefore it causes a lot of problems. Yeah. So when they approach Brahma, how are they approaching? They are approaching with complete surrender actually to Brahma. Right? You never find, I'm not sure if there is or not, but I've read so far that I've never found when Brahma gives advice, almost all the time the demigods follow. Right? And who does Brahma get his advice from? Yeah, to Vishnu, yeah. He approaches Vishnu. And in this case, the Lord is residing in Svetadvip. So this Svetadvip is within this material universe. Although it is spiritual, it's a Vaikuntha, it is still within, it's like an embassy, right? A foreign embassy is in Australia, so it's still, if you go there, it's part of that country. Yeah, so in the same way, Svetadvip is like an embassy within this material universe. Yeah. Yeah, so then what does Brahma do? He goes there and he starts to sing so wonderfully, so eloquently, so feelingly. What I'm saying is when we approach the deities and so on, our prayers also has to be genuine, with feelings and wanting the Lord to guide us properly. Right? We shouldn't come here and just look at the deities and say, hey, and then hey, you know, right? When you see each other, say, hi, hi. So similarly, when we come here, we should say, look, I am really fallen. I recognize I'm fallen. I also recognize I'm very proud. I have big ego, Lord, you know. Kindly smash my ego, but don't do it too hard. Right? Because I don't think I can handle it. We should be also, honest with ourselves and so on. And so the Lord, we find in connection with this verse, he says he accepts different forms as incarnations, either in the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, or the mode of ignorance. This is also many times repeated in the Bhagavatam. One is in the second canto, Sattvam Rajastama iti nirgunasya gunastrayaha stiti sarga nirodeshu griyita mayaya vibhu. The Supreme Lord is pure spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities, yet for the sake of the creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, he accepts through his external energy the material modes of nature called goodness, passion and ignorance. Very similar. And it's not once, so many times. This is in the second canto. Now obviously we know the Supreme Lord is the master of the external energy, right? He's never affected by the influence of the material energy. He's not affected. But the living entities are always affected. We are very susceptible to the influence of these three modes of material nature. And that's the difference between one of the difference between the Supreme Lord and ourselves. We get easily bewildered, very easily bewildered. Huh? How often are we bewildered? I heard someone say always. Yeah, exactly. Prabhupada once said, right? Someone said, what was the devotee saying? Prabhupada? Sometimes I'm in Maya. And Prabhupada said, you are always in Maya. And sometimes you are in. These are very nice, simple things Prabhupada says, but it's so heavy in the philosophy. Meaning, it's pregnant with all this understanding. Yeah. We are so easily overwhelmed. That's the difference. In other words, the material modes of nature, being products of the energy of the Lord, are certainly connected to the Lord, but the connection is just like that between the master and servants. Yeah. So they are always under him. They are always working for him by his will. Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate. So many energies here. Jnana Bala Kriya Cha. So many energies the Lord has. So many. And they all act according to his will. Yeah, his will. It is so fascinating. You can't even understand how it works. Because he wants to be in a certain leela, and his potency covers him, but he's still in control, but still he is covered. It's just fascinating. We can't even think about it. Yeah? Very, very nice. So the Supreme Lord is the controller of the material energy. Whereas the living entities who are entangled in the material world are neither masters nor controllers. We can't control the material energy. We try to, right? They try so much until now they are saying climate change. They don't know what to do. Right? Simply can't do anything. Recently there was a huge hurricane that came through. All the big talk, they're going to have the infrastructure, the electricity grids will all be okay. But in US, you'll find that the power lines are always on poles because it's too expensive to put it on the ground, So therefore, every time a hurricane, it's like a typhoon, it comes through, the power lines get broken, And then people are without power for weeks. I was there in one hurricane, and then for 3 weeks we didn't have power. 3 weeks. So the United States is like a third world country with lots of money. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people want to go there. Yeah. So there's another verse also in the previous canto. Natosmi anantaya duranta shaktaye vichitra viryaya pavitra karmani vishvasya sarga sthiti samyamam gunai swalilaya sandadate vyavatmane. So again here you see sarga sthiti samyamam. Again the same verses. What does it mean? You very easily create the universe, maintain it, and again annihilate it, yet you remain the same without deterioration. Okay? Whereas you can see ourselves, many of us were very young, and then now we are very old. We are deteriorating. Right? Every day you look in the mirror, especially now I can see so much more. When I was young, I used to get sick and I recover, I know I'm 100%. Now I get sick, I recover, I know I'm not 100%. Yeah, I know it's failing. The body fails. You can't fix it. You don't get it back, right? You have to get a new body. So the question is, what kind of body? Where are we heading to? What kind of body? So this whole idea about the Lord coming and protecting, what he's trying to do is that he's actually trying to, what is he trying to do? He's trying to attract the living entities. Right? He's attracting the living entities, and as Brahma says, he accepts different forms as incarnations, either in the mode of goodness. So what are some examples of the Lord appearing in the mode of goodness, so-called goodness? Huh? Okay, Lord Vishnu himself, maintaining. So who else? Come on, you guys know that. What about Kapila Muni? Hello? Right? Kapila Muni, yeah, is a mode of goodness. Why? He's a sage. Who else? No. Yes, Vamanadev. Who else? Yes, Narayan Rishi. Yeah. sages, they come in sages. He comes as a sage, so he's amazing. So that's in mode of goodness. He's representing that. Obviously, he is transcendental, but for the common people, they appear like they are in the mode of goodness. So what about passion? Lord Rama. Yeah. Why he is the eternal Kshatriya? Who else? Parasuram. Yes. Yeah. So this is although you can say Parasuram is a jiva sometimes, but the empowerment, that potency invested is from Krishna. So he represents that. And what about ignorance? Huh? Matsya, yes. Who else? Kurma, Matsya, Varaha. Don't say Narasingha, he'll get angry. He might get angry. Right. But not that he is in ignorance, it's just that those categories representing in the material worlds, yeah. Or sometimes he plays the part of a thief also. Right? A thief means ignorance, like Krishna, right? So what? But when Krishna plays a part of a thief, that is his leela. But when we are thief, that is our jail leela, We go to the jail, prison, Right. So according to the needs of the situation in any yuga, the Lord, when he comes, he picks up any role. He can play any role. He will play the role of a sage, the role of a fish, role of a tortoise, or a role of a peaceful yogi. He can play. He's very good. Just like Gajendra chants, right? Nayasya deva rishaya padam vidu jantu punakorati gantu miritam yatanatasya kritibi vichastato duratyayanu kramanama samavatu. What does it mean? Just like an actor on stage, putting on different dresses and dancing, sometimes you think, oh, this person is that, and everyone thinks, yes, that's who he is. But then the audience cannot know. They don't understand. They see only that person. The audience cannot understand what's happening. So similarly, the Lord's activities, they are not understood by the living entities, the demigods themselves, or the great sages. Muyanti yatsurayaha, right? The very first verse in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. They are bewildered. How is he doing all these things? Right? Very, very fascinating. We cannot understand or express in words his actual position. We can only borrow the words from the Bhagavatam. On our own we cannot. Yeah? So therefore he says, Duradyayanu kramana samavatu. So please, my Lord, give me protection. Please give me protection. Yeah, so it's important that we understand these protections that the Lord is always wanting to give. But as living entities, we are not interested in protection. I mean, as devotees we may be, but as ordinary living entities we may not be. What are we interested in? Yeah, we are pursuing, we have dreams of enjoying our senses. Well, what does Krishna say about the living entities? Aparayam itastu anya jiva bhuta mahabhava. Prakritim vidhi me param, then jiva bhuta mahabhava. Then yayedam daryate jagat. Yeah. So these living entities struggling to enjoy. They're trying to win. Let me win this situation. Let me win. But it is not a win-win situation. It's always a lose-lose situation. In the modern world, they say win-win. You get something, I get something. Here, you don't get much. What little enjoyment is fleeting. Mostly, we are suffering. We are suffering actually. Every single living entity is suffering. It's only the extent of the suffering. The most happiest person may be suffering less. Yeah, that's all. Right? Exactly, they're all suffering. So here you can see the demons, they fought the demigods and they won. Now did they win fair and square? Yes or no? Huh? Did they win fair and square, the demons? Come on. Yes or no? Yes, they did. They did. They won fair and square. But then later on the Lord intervenes. Why? That's why you see, samaham sarva bhuteshu name dvishesti na priya ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya. That's the secret. Yeah. Although the demons won fair and square, what is the problem in them holding that position? Yeah, they are not qualified. Why? Their senses are uncontrolled. They are not performing dharma. Okay, they are mostly adharmic. Okay, although of course Bali Maharaj is an exception. We are not talking about that. But in general, people who want to control the universe, everything, they don't want to render service to the Supreme Lord. So therefore, you find that the Lord doesn't accept that position. Therefore, He intervenes on behalf of His devotee. And that's the reason He comes, to intervene, to help them out. And that is His purpose. He has His purpose and we may have our purpose, meaning we have a separate agenda. But actually the Lord's purpose is what we are all trying to learn in Krishna consciousness. What is the Lord's purpose? How do we know what the Lord's purpose is? We learn through the Acharyas. Yeah, devotees, you're right. Yeah, Acharyas. Acharya has already stated what is our purpose to do, which means it is in line with the Lord's desires. That's very important. Obviously here, if you are not clear on the Lord's desires, His position and so on, it will seem that He is taking sides. Right? It appears that He is also covered by the three modes. Oh, He's taking... but then He's like an actor, we have to understand, who plays His part so perfectly that He appears to be covered. But that is not the whole situation. Now here the balance in the universe is destabilized. And therefore the Lord wants to come and set it correct. Balance in power is otherwise the exploitation of the universe will happen. Just like what we see now in the world, every government is trying to exploit the resources. They don't care about the common people. They don't care. There's no such thing as welfare for others. Yeah, they don't believe in that. All right. So you can see from the purport also in the Prabhupada's purport where he quotes that verse, we can say that the Lord is just like a judge. He's equal to everyone who comes to the court. He doesn't immediately say you are condemned. No, He hears out and then he says, okay, you didn't do the mistake, you can go home. No, you did the mistake, you are imprisoned. So there's no particular person to be favored or disfavored. But nevertheless, Krishna is compared to the rain. Right? Nevertheless, He compared to rain. The example that is given is He is compared to rain because the rain falls everywhere, and some places wonderful plants grow, trees gives fruits, beautiful and juicy. Another place a tree may grow and bears bitter fruits. So does it mean the rain is to be blamed? So no. Similarly, regardless of the living entity situation, Krishna nourishes everyone equally. He doesn't take side. But then the second part is where the whole thing changes. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapi aham. It makes it very clear. That's the first part where he is equal. Baladev Vidyabhushana, he says the first part of the verse refers to the Paramatma feature of the Lord. And the second part is particularly for the devotees. So, Krishna actually confirms that he is partial to his devotees in the Bhagavan feature. Right? Earlier in this chapter you find Krishna described that although the material world in the Bhagavad Gita, although in the material world everything rests on him, Matta Parataram Nanya Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya. There's no truth superior than me. Yeah? Just like the pearls are strung on the string. You can't see the string. So everything there's a support. And who's that support? Krishna is the support. But when you approach Krishna, when you show him you are affectionate to him, when you show him you want to have a relationship with him, then Krishna then takes that step forward to come and protect you. And this is exactly what's happening in this chapter. The prayers is to call out on the Lord to say their difficult situation. They don't know what to do now. This seems impossible because the demigods always were doing well, and now it's an impossible situation. They don't know what to do. They're not trying anything foolish. They are directly coming to the authority and say, help us. Tell me what to do, how to do. So it's very important for us to do that because just like, why was Yudhishthira Maharaj, Krishna want to establish him as the king? Because? Oh, your Dhamma you give it. No, what is his reason? What is another reason? Okay, maybe what I'm asking, it's in my mind. I'm trying to see if I can pull it out of you. It's like this, Do you know the verse? Yad yad acharati shreshtas tat tat evatoro janaha. What does it mean? Whatever a great person does, common person will do. And then whatever they set as example, the whole world pursues. What does it mean? So here, if a devotee is a ruler, is a king and so on, they always will set good example. What is that example? What is the example they are setting? Taking shelter of the Lord, and what else? How to engage in devotional service and to go back to Godhead. Yeah. It's true. Devotees do all these things. And therefore, if you put anyone else in that power or position, they're going to ruin everything. Why? Because what is the plan of the Lord? To take us back. And so if you put someone else who's not in favor of the Lord, they're going to ruin everything. They're going to ruin our existence. And therefore you see the rulers nowadays, all the leaders in all the different countries, they are ruining people's life. Yeah, completely. So we should understand that. And then when we go out and give books and so on, we know why we are giving these books. We understand why. We want to help this person. It's a genuine extension of the mercy of the Lord. So that's important, yeah. I want to tell you a story. There was a devotee. He was a photographer. And so he makes money through taking pictures. So one day a call came, and then he accepted the offer. And they gave him an address, and so he went. So he left in the morning, he drove to this distant place, and he reached there. He had plenty of time, but he got lost. And he kept looking and finally, after many hours, finally he found the address and he went there. And then he okay, that was a distraction. So and then he when he went into the room and he opened knocked on the door, the person opened, he went inside. As soon as he went in there, the FBI came and caught him. I guess you know what it is, right? He's a photographer. So what had happened was the FBI set up a sting operation where they try to catch people who are into pornography, pictures and taking. So he took this contract from someone who asked him to do it, and so he's a devotee and he knew what he was doing, so he went there and he got caught. So when he was in prison, his well-wishers and devotees came to me and asked him, why did you do it? Didn't you know you're a devotee? Why? And so he was saying, actually the Lord helped me, As I was going, I got lost many times. Even though I had the address and everything, I kept getting lost, which means the Lord was interfering and making him lose direction and so on. But he could not understand the Lord. That's one thing. The second thing is, he was more interested in sense enjoyment. Yeah. And he's in prison 20 years. He agrees. He says the Lord intervened. So, post-sanam, the Lord will come to protect us, but we must be ready to receive it. How do you do that? Practice properly, Don't do, as the devotee left, do lip service. Be very serious, Time is passing, and you never know, what war breaks out next. Or tomorrow the whole economy crashes, then what? Everyone, oh. When 9/11 happened, I remember very distinctly, I was cooking breakfast for the deities and devotees came running. One devotee came, oh, there's an aircraft crash, terrorists, what's going to happen? They start crying. I was busy cooking. I said, it's okay. Prabhupada said we should just sit down and chant Hare Krishna. Obviously, that was too much of an answer. The person started crying and so on. My point is, if we are not certain of our goals properly now, as we are practicing, you're going to be in the same situation. Because why? We are thinking of some other thing that's going to give us protection. Okay? And that's why we end up in such dire consequences. Okay, I think I'll stop here. It's getting late and I do not want to take up your prasad time. Comments, questions, corrections, reflections. Have something? Give him the microphone.
You mentioned that Lord takes, you separate the different categories. The Lord comes as a mode of goodness and passion, and which category you put Lord Nrsimhadev in?
He's half man, half man. Yeah, Nara Hare. So he's on the transcendental platform. Let's not analyze it. I don't analyze that. You haven't. I mean, it's like Kim Purushas, in one of those things. Yeah. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, we understand how Gajendra, being a pure devotee from his past life, understood that Krishna is his ultimate protector, so he called out to him. But we hear in lectures that bhakti is supposed to be ahetuki, without any
Bhakti is
supposed to be ahetuki, without motivation.
Say it again. Bhakti is supposed to be
ahetuki.
Ahetuki. Yeah.
So, like, it's without motivation and without expectation. So does that mean when I am in difficulty, I shouldn't expect that Krishna will come to protect me? If so, then please guide us how can we develop such faith that we don't expect Krishna to protect us?
That's a good question, actually. When you look at Gajendra in the, what is that? Chaturvidam Bhajate Mam, right? In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the 4 types of worshippers. One comes for material wealth, distress, what else? Inquisitive and knowledge, seeking knowledge. Now, among them, only one of them is considered the best because they understand who God is. But the problem is with all of that, the Acharyas say they are all not pure devotees. That's not Ahituki. Why? They had material desires and they approached the Lord and they were successfully worshipping. And so they, even though they got liberated and they went back to Godhead, they didn't go to Krishna's planet. They went to Vaikuntha planet. So your question is, can you worship the Lord even in difficulty? Yes, you can worship, there's nothing wrong. But because we are following Krishna consciousness, we want to do it in a way that we want to please Krishna also. So we say, whatever it is, I will accept. That is the situation that's going to be difficult. That means you are willing to go through the difficulties. Are you willing to go through the difficulties? So that's where the line is drawn between pure devotional and one who is Mishra Bhakti. It means mixed devotees, they have a lot of other things, material needs, whereas pure devotees don't want anything. I will go to hell, the gopis, right? But we will give you the dust from our feet. Yeah. So they are not worried about the consequences. So when we are in difficulties, when we totally cannot handle it, then we should pray. Yes. Akama sarva kama moksha kama udarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham. Whatever desire you have in your heart, it is still better to worship Krishna. So yeah, go ahead and worship. But after asking for that, you can also pray and say, Lord, I still want to be a pure devotee. Give me the understanding to approach you purely and not with some material attachments. Yeah, okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you. Today is your birthday. Anyone has any more comments, reflections? So we wish you very well in your birthday. May Shri Radha Vallabha Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Shri Gaur Nitai Srila Prabhupada bless you to be a very, very good devotee.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi.